In the listening exam, the 4 sections, or listenings, consist of dialogues between 2 or more people and short talks by one person. Be prepared for accents from a variety of native English speakers, British, American, Australian. In the listening module, a range of question types are used. We will look at listening and reading questions in more detail later in the movie. Note that not a lot of text is used in the listening questions, so you can focus on what you hear while writing down the answers. It is vital to read the questions and/or study the diagrams before you start listening. In the listening exam, always write your answers into the spaces provided in the question paper as you listen. You have 10 minutes at the end of the listenings to transfer your responses to the answer sheet. Unlike the listening module, the reading exam is different for the general training module and the academic module. Some types of reading texts are similar in both modules, but there are important differences. As with the texts in the academic reading exam, the general module readings can be taken from books, magazines, or newspapers. However, general module readings can also come from instruction manuals or leaflets, or be newspaper advertisements. The third and final text in the general reading exam has more complex language structures and is longer than the previous texts. It is also usually descriptive writing rather than argumentative. The more complex texts in the academic reading exam, however, are often based on detailed logical argument. Some of these texts can come from journals. Unlike the listening test, you are not allowed extra time at the end to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Write your responses on the answer sheet at the same time as you answer the questions. It is a good idea to look through the questions before reading the texts. In this part, we will look at what you must be aware of when writing your responses on the answer sheet. Do not use more words than the answer requires. You must use correct spelling. Make sure your writing is easy to read. The marker will not give you a score if he or she is uncertain what words, number, or letter you have written. Although the activity of humans is grammatically correct and means the same as the acceptable answer, it will not receive a score because it is too long. Human activity is correct because it does not contain more than 3 words. It is essential to do what the question requires. Be careful when you are copying your answers to the answer sheet from the question paper. Don't mix up your answers. However, there are times when it is okay to write certain answers in any order. For example, when you are asked to select multiple items from a list, or when you are required to write 2 words separated by and or in a closed question. Reading and listening questions that ask you to write letters. This task requires the candidate to enter a letter representing words or expressions from a list to fill the gaps in the summary above. Writing A, B, C or D is the most common way of answering multiple choice questions. Note that the answers can be in capitals or lowercase letters, but they must be clear. In this question type, a letter from the list below represents the correct ending of a sentence. Sometimes, however, Roman numerals are used to answer questions instead of letters. Answering with letters or numbers. In this type of gap fill question, you are allowed to use one word or a number. Make sure you know what you are allowed to write in the spaces. One word, 2 words, a number. Sometimes there is more than one possible answer, i.e. word form or synonym. In the previous example, missing words or numbers need to be inserted in a table. This task is similar, except that words need to be added to a diagram. Tasks using tables or diagrams are more common in the listening module than in the reading one. In summary completion tasks, you are often asked to fill in spaces with a limited number of words from the text. In this example, the maximum number of words is 3. Answering with specific words. There are 2 types of question that require the candidate to answer with specific words. Yes, no, not given is one of them. This type of question requires an understanding of the writer's views or opinions. Whereas the true, false, not given question focuses on what information is given in the text rather than the writer's opinion. For detailed information about answering these and other types of questions, see our IELTS reading videos. That concludes the tutorial. For more help with your IELTS, go to www.myenglishexam.com.